very scary lineup for Sengoku, especially how they have been playing Jet on Silas, once on Viego. There's going to be a lot of pop-off moments in this game if it gets bloody. Hopefully it's going to be bloody and not a little repeat of what we had last game for Game 3, as we are waiting for everything to get loaded into the Rift. Oh, man. All right. So,
yeah, I mean, if it's going to get bloody, it's going to be on Sengoku, right? I think that they have the tools to start the fights earlier on into the game in terms of smaller fights. We talked about top side when you have Viego, Silas, even Sejuani become to join the fight and throw an Ignite into the mix too, as that champion tends to bring that summoner spell with them. That's where I'm looking for from Sengoku. If it's going to be bloody, I think it has to be them that starts off. On the other side, Burning Core, they're looking for just this slowly incrementing, building amount of pressure where they're pushing you in. They're using the Trundle to secure that wave push and trying to stop those aggressive Viego Silas players when they come. They're looking for lanes first and then trying to maybe group up around those objectives. Sengoku, like we said, they're the ones who really want to be, if anything, the aggressors.
Yeah. Burning Core on blue. Dice and Yuhi deciding to play Bring Your Daughter to Work Day with the Azir Sivir.
That's a great line. I love that. I love that so much. I've never heard that one before.
Thank you. I realized it as soon as I saw the final lock hints. I'm like, wait a minute. Hold on here. That was a really cool in-game lore event, by the way. Like, for those that actually played it, that was really dope. I loved.
Wait, when did that event happen? When was that?
When were they released?
I mean, Shurima was released season 5, but I didn't. So Azir was released season 5, but I didn't think there was like a big event around. I remember there was a cinematic, but I couldn't.
They had the cinematic. They just released a lot of lore drops. I think that's when Riot was deciding to really deepen the lore and reshape the world.
I don't think there was a Shuriman event. There was the lore, because that was when season 5 was also when the Harrowing happened. That was a great event. So when Gangplank was around, we had like Lucian and Misfortune get a lot of story for the first time in a while, because that's where remember at that time we didn't know anything about Senna, because Senna came out in season 10, but Lucian and Thresh had started to get a little bit more lore to them. It's not something that we've seen for a little while.
The creative department was going ham with the stories.
Yeah. And speaking of going a little bit ham, we normally expect actually a little bit more aggression from something like a Sivir Karma. What they're trying to do, stack up the wave. I actually think they've made a little bit of a mistake in the wave control, because what you're meant to do is not push quite that hard. You're meant to be stacking up a couple of waves and then waiting for your jungler to come down and then do something while your jungler is on that side of the map, because you're either free to dive or to go into the enemy bot side or do something like that. What's happened now is that your pushing lane in this bot side isn't going to achieve a huge amount. You've gone for the cult anyway. I wonder if this is not the perfect jungle pathing to match with what you want to do. Floor's going to spot out that ward. Sweeper's not going to be there in time, though, so that's going to time out. Oh, can you get the auto reset?
Can you get it?
It's going to be close.
Boom, boom, bam.
Oh, just about.
There it is, Flawless. Okay. I think he's put enough time on the champion now to get that down. But yeah, very good for him to grab that information. And you see Juan's just going to be on top side, taking his reds and whatnot. But yeah, like you said, Yuhi, Fuji, jump in just a little bit.
I don't necessarily mind one or the other, right? Because you have a cull on your Sivir, you want to be safely farming and just safely pushing in. What they did manage to do is push in and get a ward. They know what's happened with this bot side, right? But if you're playing around bot side, because as we said, top side is not really where your pressure comes from in this Burning Core draft. I would have liked to see more of like typical LPL macro, where you, when you have pushing 2v2, you end up like playing towards getting an enemy jungle camp steal, getting the enemy bot lane zoned off of their tower. And while these two are doing well in a 2v2 sense, I feel like more could have been achieved if Flawless had been on the same page as his bot lane to make sure they could make use of that 2v2 early push.
Okay, yeah, definitely seeing what you mean there in that regard. But yeah, it's this is an interesting map state, I feel. God, there's already a lot more champion interaction in this game in the first 4 minutes than like the entirety of the 10 minutes of the previous game. So that's really dope to see. Really love that Dice is Jet pressuring Jet a bit. You saw how low he chunked him under tower. I mean, I believe that's just the nature early of the matchup before Silas gets
also
leveled
so that's a little bit of a red herring. So I agree. Azir very much can do a lot of damage, stuff like that. But Jet was looking for the reset and to teleport back into lane. So you use your HP as a resource. You get all the farm you can. Because most of the time, early laning phase. So Zed players will know this. If you play stuff like Kiana as well, you don't really want to trade a skill for one CS. You don't want to be sitting there it's like, oh, I'll get a last hit, but I have to take like a LeBlanc QW or something like that, right? So when you get to reset, that's the one time you do that. It's like, well, I'm recalling anyway. It doesn't actually matter.
Doesn't actually matter too much. Yeah.
Use the last of their HP as a resource. See how much HP as a resource can be used here, though.
Who's acting first? NT's the target here. We're gonna flash forward onto him. Ignite is down. NT might tick away. Yes, the last tick will give it the credit over to Fujimoto. Sub back in, already doing big things, but can the rest of Burning Core get out in time? You see, Jet is meandering down, but they're not going to continue the chase, and really good collapse. I love how long Flawless sat there in the bush to make that work. Perfect timing with the pillar, got the ignite down as well, and yeah, that's first blood going over to Burning Core.
And it's a bit of misstep from Sengoku, jetting so much damage, paying him back for that trade on the turret, I guess. But Flawless, when he does that, and again, we talked about Flawless being a big litmus test for Burning Core. We knew this jungle match would be important between these two teams, but speaking of how long he sat here, it wasn't the hugest amount of time. And most importantly, he doesn't have camps really that available to take. He's got Grump up right now, but he's not losing anything, right? Most of his camps are down. He's not losing anything. He channels his recall. If nothing happens, he gets to go back out onto the map. But just as he's going through it, he realizes, actually, this is what we could do. And the last Ricochet does just enough damage to bring him down into the Ignite tick range. And this, the Viego, while they're ready to fight, ready to start some plays, not there at the right timing in the right place to turn it around.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to chase down a Karma team early. Just get the Mantra empowered E, they can speed out of there. So Burning Core getting away with a very crafty play, as it's looking. That could have gone wrong. There was an angle where Once could have gotten behind and actually short up some kills, but very good. Like I said, very good job for Burning Core to actually get away from all of that.
Yeah. So this isn't alien to Sengoku. Committed from Paz. Ignite committed from Paz.
Yo, the Smithy ult into the Ignite. I love that. But Orange the tanky boy. He eats his weed.
Wait, no, he hit that ult right. That was a hit.
No. Oh, man. Wait. Can he survive this? No way. Oh, wow. That was too close for comfort. Ray Farkey almost made that 2v1 happen in his favor, but they will get an answer back onto that.
We said Sengoku had tools to make plays happen in the top side early. It takes them a little while to get that, but they're past the level 6 mark. They managed to get the heavy damage trade from Sejuani. Of course, Sejuani, most of her damage comes from hitting that permafrost, that stun, and then proccing it with the auto. But if you cast your ult after you've done that, you get basically 2 in a row. You don't get to do it the other way around, because if you hit your ult first, it kind of locks out an internal cooldown. So Paz gets 2 trades of that. Ray Farkey gets away, but isn't high enough HP to survive Once. Now, that's going to be Ornn losing a wave, losing a plate, and Once is on the board in terms of an assist too. So, Sengoku use some of their resources available to them to even up this early game in terms of gold. Before that, they had fallen a little bit behind. Sengoku have not been the cleanest early on. Earlier into the split, they had found more consistency in their early games. They've typically had to find their way back around team fights as the game goes on, but this game giving a bit of a counter punch early on.
For sure, and yeah, but man, that was real close for Ray Farkey. Like you said, he wasn't high enough HP to survive that dive. Had he been just a little bit more and that Ornn ulti connected, that might have been what's going down, but they will capitalize on this by starting this Herald. Paz will try to control ward down just to get some vision on, but unfortunately for him, once he's in the bot side.
And unfortunately he's somehow 20 CS down, a level down. He's under turret, he has both summoners, but this is a dead Civet.
Hit 6 immediately decides to burn the ultimate, interestingly enough. Okay, the kill credit will go over to Once, and yeah, just bad timing. I didn't even notice that he was down that much CS.
Well, I mean, what the hell happened in bot lane? I mean, I've been watching other areas of the map, but I mean, one of the things about Severe Karma is that it makes your laning phase so f***ing easy. You are not meant to be behind at this point. Against Azeri Lulu, sure, you think, okay, you're not going to deny them from CS, but you were shoving in. You got to play. You had a play down bot side too, and you managed to get a kill onto the support. There is no reason why this should be that kind of loss.
Oh
An
my
individual laning weakness has led to this bot lane giving up another kill, and that is now a huge problem for Burning Core. Sivir is central to their team composition.
Yeah, that was interesting. We should have paid more attention to bot lane, I suppose, because wow, the actual difference right now, Vital is styling all over Yuhi, and that was, yeah, like we had said, the Sivir is vital to this composition. Names aside, it's
Yes,
just
Vital is vital to Sengoku. We are very clever here.
we have it just spins a roulette. Whatever it lands on, it just works.
Yeah.
But Burning Core better spin that roulette faster to make something up, because they're starting to fall behind here, and Vital can be a very key point for Sengoku to start pulling ahead more. As you know, he's already ramped up. Jet's starting to ramp up. It's gonna get pretty scary. We do have Ocean Drake spawning here in about 20 seconds or so. The way the map state is shaping up, I want to say Sengoku are just going to go ahead and go for this.
So it depends what's going to happen with the Herald. So you see that floors down bot side. I kind of figured this would go towards bot side anyway.
Yeah.
You're basically always going to be able to hit that into turret. Sengoku don't have the return threat right now to stop this. So Herald, this is a good Herald. How much do they get from it though? They're not going to finish off the turret. So that's all it's going to be is a bit of gold. And what Vital has been doing very well is make sure these are picking up every bit of CS under the turret. Burning Core get themselves a bit of pressure. Again, that's what we said that they'd be playing towards. Not necessarily big dive plays, but just incrementally building up wave shove into some kind of advantage. This is something. It's just not been enough on top of this early game because of, sadly, Yuhi struggling to lane versus Vital in terms of just hitting minions.
Unfortunately, yeah, the basic building blocks of League of Legends not really found on Yuhi right now, as they had the inside track. They did get a decent amount of damage onto that tower from that Herald play, but muscled off of Dragon. As Sengoku, they have this entire bottom quadrant of the map just very much in their wheelhouses. Once diving over the side, will chunk out Dice considerably, just jumping in to scare him right there. But
I think what he was hoping was see if he could get like a panic ult out of this here, because if you just burn flash, burn ult, because Dragon's coming up at this point. Still, you take half the HP, that's fine. That means that your Azir is not really in a position to fight at this point. And when you have, Flawless is still looking to contest. And because Jet's not here, it actually doesn't matter about the chunk in the mid lane. Burning Core managed to force Sengoku away from the Dragon.
Okay, interesting start-stop. A little bit of a Dragon dance here. Unfortunately, none of these are Garchomp, so it's not too scary. As we do see them still hovering. They're still hovering. They're still taking so much time around this bottom side of the map. I mean,
and they can do this, right? Because they still have wave control. They still get to shove in, even if they're not actually getting the last hits. They're getting the wave into the turret.
Oh, is he going around?
Back to the mid lane. This is going to be nasty.
This has to be it. He does have flash and ult available, but it's no avail. Dice going to get destroyed, deleted immediately, as now the aggression is on from Sengoku. Yuhi having to burn the Sivir ulti, but Vital, he's going to put down massive numbers, and they're just completely forcing Burning Core off the map just so they can take this Dragon, just so they can get some more kills in their pocket, and Sengoku showing some muscle.
Yeah, and this is why, again, I really wanted to talk about jungle matchup leading into this one, because it felt like Flawless, maybe he had himself an ability to play the aggressive jungle matchup, but once has been, outside of Steel, the guy that is going to run you through early. And he gets around vision here. This is the second attempt. And he just comes out of nowhere and just slaps Dice with the Spectral Wall. He lands that W. This is like really high range as well. That's pretty much on the end of it. That doesn't hit. Dice probably gets out with a flash. It's not a kill. It doesn't lead to that much. Once pinpoint accuracy on the skill shot leads to a kill for Sengoku.
Yeah, and it's textbook want stuff, like you said. The man is so good at getting around and just making stuff happen. He's the extrovert friend of the party that like goes crazy whenever you can literally seize any instance to, and that's going to result in another kill for Sengoku rather, but will resort in first turret going over to Burning Core as they finally crack that egg that is the bottom tower after many attempts to go to put pressure down there. So trying to get Yuhi back into this game. He's still considerably down in CS. Items down a little bit too. He doesn't have his first set of boots completed, but
he has popped his cull, and that helps, right? So now, I mean, you can talk about minutiae. We've talked about that a little bit before. Basically, what it's led to is, Yuhi being a little further behind the curve than you would really like. And with Vital picking up an assist to kind of match parity with Yuhi, he's feeling very, very happy. Now, on the whole, I do feel like Sivir is better than Zeri in the meta right now. In terms of if you're both hitting targets all the time, then Sivir is going to do more work than Zeri. The thing about Zeri is that it's more likely that she gets to hit those targets. We saw that in the first game of the day, right? When it was Axe is trying to play around the Sivir and was like, well, actually, I can't hit the target. Then Hybrid on CJ was like, well, I'm Zeri. I actually have much longer range than you. I'm Zeri. I'm going to do Zeri things. Now, Vital. Been moved into mid lane duty. When the bot lane turret falls, you often do see the bot lanes moving around the map. Once.
Okay, burns the ult. Burns the ult, gets away. Good thing you can do that on Viego. Doesn't have to burn the flash. Herald number 2 will be started by Burning Core. And there's going to be 2 for 2 on Heralds, I believe, unless Sengoku does want to start this party.
What's happening? Once doesn't have an easy way into the pit. Looking like we're setting up for this, but big team fight coming from Burning Core.
Farky going to burn the Ornn ulti. Oh, they're on to Paz. They're going to take him down. Dice gets that kill credit. This fight has started. Jet on the backside, trying to get as much damage as possible. Tries to flash out, but Wild Growth will not save him enough, and that's a double for Dice as Burning Core is on the run, though. Sengoku looking better with a life lead, even though it is a 3v5 situation.
Yeah, and Sengoku, they commit to a fight when they know the Ornn ult is coming towards you. You know you're fighting basically down the throats of what Burning Core's composition wants to do. You're going straight down the middle, and it's a chartered light brigade for them. They try and go in. They end up losing the Herald, losing 2 kills. And for all of the hard work that Sengoku did in the early game, through their laning phase, they take an ill-advised fight, and they get punished for it.
Yeah, I mean, luckily they were able to stave off the capture of the Rift. Well, no. Did Flawless get it? Okay, yeah. In the replay,
yeah, Flawless gets it. But like, looking at this fight, right, I love how Ray Farky positions in this one. Like, he gets an ult which just says, if you go through here, you're in trouble. And they go through there, and they're in trouble. And because that works out so well and stops Sengoku from committing so much, the rest of the disengage potential from a Sivir ult, from Karma ult, from the Azir ult too, that's enough after that point. I really think that Ray Farky does the lion's share of the work in making sure that Sengoku can't find a good angle in that fight.
NT pulling the El Clasico, Warden Bush, Lulu Q, just, hey man, I see you there. But yeah, just really great positioning from Ray Farky in that last fight. Just you don't want to fight Warren in those chokes ever, and the way they were able to funnel them down was so clean.
Now, if you do that at 2-3 items, you probably lose the fight, because Jet did get into the backline, because Jet has been so good at doing that, especially on champions like the Silas. He has kind of been picking up the mantle from what Arya used to do, and, you know, I have to mention him a certain amount of times per broadcast. I haven't been doing it enough so far, but
it's in the contract.
When you're on this champion, you want to make sure you're getting into the backline and threatening a carry. Did end up doing that. You just don't have enough items at this point of the game. Yeah. If Sengoku could take that fight at the similar kind of gold advantages in 10 minutes, in 15 minutes, that is a 1 fight for them. As it stands, though, they've lost a couple of fights. They've lost vision control across the side. It means that they're not ready yet to respond to Burning Core's group up and fight kind of composition. So they trade the mid outer turret for the top outer turrets. The map is starting to open up. We're getting first towers taken by Sengoku. Of course, the bot lane turret was taken by Burning Core for the first tower of the game. And now this opens up a lot of extra things. Burning Core, you've been able to push, and you'll be able to group up.
No, they're not.
Can you do that when all the towers are down?
Okay, speedy boy, Flawless going in, does eat the Sejuani ultimate, Ornn ultimate does go down too. TP on the backside.
Jet's coming in.
Burning Core trying to start a fight, but baby, I don't think they want to try and finish it, as this is Sengoku coming in. Jet did steal the Ornn ulti, lands onto 2, but under tower there is no follow-up. I say that as Rifarky charging straight in. Yuhi gets a boomerang blade on the backside to claim a kill, but Vital is marching forward, has the shield bow, all the lifesteal in the world to work with. But once again, Burning Core starting a fight, picking something off, and then getting away. That's that speed up power of the Karma Sivir showing in spades.
But the thing is, Sengoku didn't have to lose that fight. They committed to it.
Correct.
2 fights in a row where Sengoku have chosen to take the fight before they are ready for it. Burning Core, they're not actually being pushed around that much. They're getting into position. All 5 members stood behind each other. And once again, Ray Farky doing some serious work. Last time we saw that big ultimate kind of separating off the team. It's less about the ultimate this time, right? Because with Paz trading ults, you're getting enough disengage. The slow field after the ultimate pops is actually more important than the actual stun itself at that point. Right. But look at this. Ray Farky just puts down the Q, makes sure it's there, and Jet overstays. That knockup just stunts the engage from Sengoku. Yuhi's actually doing enough work on Sivir right now to make it work. It gets close because he overstays into Vital's damage. If you do, again, you do that 10 minutes later, Vital kills you, Jet kills you. But right now, feels like Sengoku are not at the right point in time to take those fights.
Yeah, and unfortunately though for Burning Core, they once again take another big fight like that, but all of their members are so worse for wear when it comes to the life lead that Sengoku were able to turn it into an objective. That's 3 dragons back to back to back for them off of these fights, even though Burning Core, you know, they are advantageous in that current moment. Like you said, had this been another item down the road in the pockets for any of the other members, that might not have been Burning Core getting away with 80 members alive, but Sengoku able to, you know, make something out of nothing in those instances is still very key for them.
When because we have to put this back into context, right? Because the last couple of fights have gone Burning Core's way, and we said, look, if Sengoku, if they're even later into the game, those fights actually work out for them. Now, most of the time, when you lose those kind of fights too early into the game, you end up falling behind. It's not actually happened. Gold is still there for Sengoku, partly because look at that CS discrepancy between 80 carries. Vital has been farming, ladies and gentlemen. And now that means that you are on Soul Point, you have good farm, and actually, even though you've lost a couple of fights, and that's a feel-good moment from Burning Core, in another game against a better team where you take those fights and you get punished for it, you fall behind, Sengoku are not in that position. And again, we've come to really expect this a little bit from Sengoku. They're not always clean in the early game. Sometimes they do need to come back in the late game to team fight back. This looks like that could happen again this game. Just setting the expectations. Next 10 minutes, Sengoku, if they start taking those fights again, they're still within a much more reasonable gold advantage and gold, or rather gold parity, I suppose, to take those fights again.
Right, yeah. I'm hoping that it doesn't get to that point where Sengoku is like, all right, we can just begrudgingly endure this out and make that comeback, because the gold state is relatively even.
No, they just need to do what they were doing just in like 5-10 minutes.
Right. Yeah. Just same thing, just a little bit down the road. Jet, you can't be missing those as Dice is trying to get away as best he can. Flash. He didn't need to flash there. He didn't need to flash there. As Once is gonna go ahead and claim his head for the mantle.
There you go. Once finding something on the side lane, and Burning Core, they've been kind of winning in the grouped up fights. That's good. We haven't really talked about the split map yet. When you trade these out to turrets, this is something which we, just before that last big fight happened, we were starting to question actually, okay, towers are starting to fall. Can Burning Core start playing this grouped up style when they start losing vision, when they have to go to respond to side lanes? And the answer is actually, they have a couple of issues in it. Dice blows ult, blows flash, gives up a kill. Sengoku finding an advantage for relatively low effort. Now Burning Core, for all of the victories that they had in small moments in early game in some of those fights, are starting to fall behind to this oppressive skirmish nature of Sengoku.
Right, and they're just really... I feel like Burning Core is just trying to wait. They're trying to CS. They're trying to grab stuff as much as they can because they want to fight on a more even ground, I would say. Because once again, not to, beat a dead horse as it goes, but Yuhi versus Vital, this matchup has not been going the way you would think it would have been, given statistics and whatnot, and just the disparity between them CS-wise, the amount of agency that Vital will be able to have here in these next coming minutes is just something to really think about in the back pocket. Is Yuhi probably won't be able to even get an auto win. He'll just have to be too busy dodging, if anything, even trying to stay alive.
It depends how Sengoku go about their fight, right? Because if it is Jet coming through again, or someone going in first, but they're within ricochet distance, then that's still damage, right? I mean, that's the difficulty of playing against new Sivir, especially with the ricochet distance being increased.
Wow.
We do see that Yuhi still has enough gold, right? Because he's managed to get he managed to get a lot of plates. The full first 5 plates were on bot lane, went over to Yuhi first tower local gold. It's just a shame that the CS hasn't meant that this isn't actually just parity. This should be a 1,000, 1,500 advantage to Yuhi.
Ooh.
It's not going to end up like that. But if Yuhi does get to sit there, gets to auto on someone like Jet or Once or Paz that's made their way into the fight to without
on the back
spacing,
side,
that's still going to be okay.
Yeah. And looking at this is the 4th. This is Soul Point. Paz on the backside. He is completely unnoticed here. This is looking like an interesting angle. Okay, so no fight to be started, but Paz playing solid Snake cosplay right now, able to get a lot of info as we do see Burning Core giving their best NAA RAM impression and just kind of pushing down mid.
So you don't want to play against choke points against this comp. If you get Sejuani
Not at
ulted in
all.
that choke point and Vital starts doing stuff, things get very, very difficult. So you're looking for
Oh!
mid priority, but Sengoku, call the bluff,
This
go
is the
towards
choice.
that Baron. They don't care about giving over one measly Cloud Drake. They can threaten this trade, but because they're not able to finish it off, all it's doing is delaying the objective trade. Now, you've got bot lane recalling from Sengoku. They get to get an extra crit cloak on Zeri. And while this is happening, Burning Core haven't managed to find a space to get towards that dragon. The objective trade is still on the table.
Yeah, objective trade is still there. Very good job on them delaying anything from being taken. But I feel like Sengoku is just kind of leading them around the map right now. You know, they're kind of playing Ring Around the Rosie as Burning Core do have the inside track onto this Cloud Drake.
I want
like you
to
said,
see.
Sengoku, yeah. Like you said, Sengoku don't have to give that.
Yeah,
don't
I don't
really
want to see.
care.
Yeah, how long was this ult gonna last? They're not actually gonna get anything else. The call I like to call that one the call of the forgery god, because it's been stolen.
Okay.
I was actually wondering if there was an angle there, but Sengoku, they go for this like gambit, trying to say, all right, if you slip up, if you're not quick enough, and you don't realize we're doing this quick enough, we can get something for free. We can get that Baron. We can force you into a fight which you don't want to take. But as it happens, they kind of take a swing and a miss, and for once, Sengoku don't end up taking the fight before they are ready. So that is something at least.
Interesting. Okay, so a little bit of a change there. Man, this has been a really close game. Like, I want to say from the outset, in all honesty, just with how both of these teams have been playing, and I think that's a really good thing. That's both a really good thing to see for a Burning Core standpoint, but also a tiny little bit of a worrying trend from Sengoku as they are approaching here the 25-minute mark. Yeah, just a minor 2,000 gold lead for Sengoku right now. It doesn't feel like it's that large of a difference, and most of it I feel is coming from the pockets of Vital.
Now Vital almost at those 3 items, and that is going to be so dangerous to see. I mean, of course, it's matched on the other side by Yuhi for now. We've talked enough about these 80 carries. 80 carries are going to be doing an awful lot of damage this game. So I think we are now at the point where Sengoku, if they take another fight in the way that they were doing early on, can kill those carries with one flank from Jet, who's got himself a Shadow Flame. He's definitely going towards burst damage, less about surviving through to a second W with something like a Zhonya's or a Cosmic Drive, where you can try and just heal drain through the enemy front line. You're looking to get onto your target and absolutely mash them. Watch for Jet to do that. Once, similar kind of aggressive mindset from this point in terms of the Blade of the Ruin King. Of course, it's not going to be something like a Sunder going towards the Frostfire, a bit more staying power. But either way, look at this mid-jungle, see if they can get themselves a flank, see what they can do to Burning Core when they start to group up again. I think it is on Sengoku to pull the trigger on Burning Core. I'm not sure Burning Core are at the same risk when they start diving in.
Right. Double Frostfire for Sengoku. Lots of area slowing for them as well. It's just so, like, we want Burning Core to be able to control the fight, or they want to be able to control the area. They want to be able to control the fight terrain, you know, with the Trundle Pillar, with the Ornn stump, using that. It's using the speed that Fujimoto is able to provide. Fujimoto, however, has been playing really well. First game back since spring playoffs. Honestly, has been playing very well this game. It's currently deathless, so that's very impressive in my opinion, with how scrappy this game has been.
Civic Karma is like the ultimate speed up. Woo! It's very easy, very cookie cutter. It's definitely a bit more of a... It's a bit easier to kind of play it in terms of your role within the team. We talked about that with V3 a little, right? In terms of and actually the Hawks talked about it a little bit with them too. In terms of sometimes you want to go into a game and say, let's give you an easy job. Let's make sure you're only worrying about certain things. And the Karma in this game was meant to get wave shove and meant to group up and help the team. That's what they've ended up doing, and Fujimoto has been doing absolutely fine at that. You don't have to be the person making a flash hook on Pike, Blitzcrank, or something like that, right?
For sure. I was just highlighting for how scrappy this game has been.
Yes.
It's really impressive that Fujimoto has not actually died in these fights, being on the Karma, as squishy as they are, the little bean. But it's been really dope to see him, you know, come back. Like I said, first game since playoffs, and he's just in here.
Ray Fox just used the
oh
E.
No.
Oh,
Okay.
just missed
Jet,
out on the spacing. Almost got the second ult.
Unfortunately, he's going up against Ornn, the mage assassin, tank, marksman extraordinaire himself.
And also, if you go for the Shadow Flame, you want to be hitting backline. This is one of these things where if you are building particularly an AP assassin champion, you want to be itemizing for the target you're hitting. If you wanted to hit Ornn, you want a Cosmic Drive. You want extra cooldown to get loads of extra damage, like in terms of extended trades. This is not what Jet has currently built towards. He's built to hit the Azir, built to hit that Sivir, and kill them outright. That's not necessarily going to be the case. So when he goes up against the Ornn in the side, you can actually see the Ornn's doing a decent job in the 1v1.
Right, and that's, like you said, the itemization is very key there, and it's going to be difficult with Ray Farkey. I mean, once Falls completes another item, I believe he's going for Randuin's.
Sorry, who are you talking about? Was this Flawless or Ray Farkey?
Flawless.
Yes, if that's the Warden spell, that will almost certainly be going into that Randros. Yep.
Yeah, so I mean, two extremely tanky members on the side of Burning Core can make things extremely difficult for Sengoku, especially as
you also have the Trundle and Steel Sejuani stats.
Exactly.
So he's in the wrong spot. That's going to be a very difficult conversation to be having in terms of, oh crap, we've got to deal with two massive tanks, and that's why Vital has, of course, gone towards that Lord Dominic's Regards third. Now, Burning Core, they've grouped up. This is what they want to do. Sengoku, remember what we were saying. If they manage to get the flank, this can work for them.
This could work for them, but the Speedians from Burning Core, they're trying to kite upwards the best they can. Jet is here, has done stolen the Trundle ultimate, does get it onto Ray Farkey, as Flawless does get set up on the side. The Ornn ultimate comes down, the fight is on. Jet forced into stasis, Paz on the side, not able to do a damn thing as they are being pushed off. Sengoku wanted to start this fight, but look on the side once, does get seen, does get spotted. Burning Core grouping as a group of 5 in this bush, they're trying to recall together. This is the cheekiest thing I've ever seen.
They managed to stop some recalls. They're teleporting back in, and once is full HP. What can they do with this?
Ray Farkey is very low. That's your big tank. Jet steals the ultimate. Forgery God comes out. Ray Farkey's still alive, just barely managed to flash out, but will be called in the end. All fighting under this turret. Burning Core hugging to it like they're trying to cling to their mom at an amusement park as once drives in, gets a double kill on his, makes that a triple. Baby, give him the quadra as he is going to completely decimate, tear through all of Burning Core. They survived for as long as they could, but it was not enough because Sengoku are going to take the fight. And
that is a certified Viego moment. Once manages to stop those recalls hanging around that side. Jet manages to steal a second ultimate in that fight, and Sengoku, in a way we have come to expect from them, find a way to just outplay in the late game. First start of this fight is not easy for them, though. We were saying, okay, look, Burning Core, they've grouped up. Sengoku, if they find fights like they did earlier into the game, this can be very, very dangerous for them. It's not as easy for them this time, though. I mean, Jet is not hitting the backline. He's hitting Ray Farkey, and well, that's okay. But you can see what happens when you're hitting a front line, when this Sivir and Azir, the bring your daughter to work combo, can start doing damage. What really happens after this point, though, is just the ability for Sengoku to realize they can stop backs and reforge this fight, go straight back into it. Because then, actually, after Jets uses HP bar, it's not like Sengoku don't have other people that can go into the fray. Once, and Paz managed to really make a meal of this fight.
The just reset after reset after reset. You said it yourself, certified Viego moment. Doing his best Pike cosplay while stealing other people's. It's just... Look at that. Oh, man. It was such a long, extended fight. Like, you see the damage graph, but it was just all Sengoku just playing in and out, in and out, in and out. And it was just, like you said, them being able to find these fights later in the game, being able to make their moments matter the most. And off of the back of that, they took that last Cloud Dragon to give them that Cloud Soul. So Sengoku really poised to close this one out here. All they got to do is just keep up that momentum that they've grabbed. So...
Baron buff. This means that your wave clear of the Sivir is going to be neutered a little bit. It's not like you can't just clear minions. Of course, Sivir can absolutely do that between Sivir and Azir. But it still means that you're not pushing out on the map. You don't get that control of the map. And maybe Sengoku can finally try and start breaking down some of these towers. I'm actually wondering how much Burning Core can do. Of course, you've got a Cloud Soul on the other side from Sengoku. It might actually take an Elder to close out this game. Burning Core's team comp is very happy to turtle and keep things rolling. But Sengoku, they're in position to potentially force something should someone show away from the main group.
Yeah, Ben, just to talk about it again, because it's my favorite thing in this game. Vital, 100 up on Yuhi now.
Almost that Flame Horizon, just a couple of CS up, yeah.
It's beautiful. Love to see it. Love to see it.
And now he's obviously got himself a 4th item. He has an Infinity Edge. This Zera is going to start cracking skulls. Has already been doing decent damage, but now at this point has so much damage. And Burning Core, remember how important this game is for them. For Sengoku, it is keeping them at the top of the table, for sure. Burning Core, potentially keeping themselves in playoffs. It's them and Axis. It's between those two right now, sat on those 5 wins, and Axis lost earlier in the day, of course. Burning Core, they're a team which came back from a slump last year. They got themselves into a decent spot in spring. We thought they'd managed to revive as an organization. They thought that maybe last year was just a flash in the pan in the wrong direction, but this game, they have to hold on. They have to try and find a way to wave clear, find themselves into a death ball team comp win. It's not going to be easy for them, as Sengoku have been showing their late game prowess.
Yeah, this all-important game for Burning Core. Everything counts from here on out. Luckily, they do have a lot of wave clear. If there's one thing I know Siver's good at, I believe even after the changes, he's still good at wave clearing. So that is something I want to keep in my pocket as well. As you know, with Azir, it's just they can't. My biggest gripe with their team fights this game is that they keep grouping into a barrel. Like they spread out and then they just cluster.
You have to spread, because you need the Karma to get max value. You need to make sure that the Trundle Pillar and the Azir are doing maximum work for the rest of their team. This is a group and fight composition. Now, I think they've given Sengoku some problems with that, right? Because you can see that if Jet's not hitting the backline, things get a little bit difficult. But you're right, Burning Core haven't managed to find their big wins themselves. They're not ever since that early game where they were getting some micro wins around the Heralds, but there are no Heralds left, and of course the Baron's already gone down. They're going to be struggling now to really open up the map again and take control of things. Yeah, and Sengoku able to balloon that to a 10,000 gold lead, 10,000k gold lead off of those last few fights and those extended trades, and getting every single objective on the map in their favor. Burning Core really having to, dig deep in that bag to get an answer on how they're going to be able to pull this one off and get a victory on their side. Baron spawning in about 135-ish. Elder might be looking like, the definitive answer for them to get that in that fight. I agree with that. I think that Elder at this point is probably what Sengoku are going to use to end the game, because at that point, even if you group up as 5 people, you're looking at the point where you can start just mashing through people. I mean, when you've got a Cloud Soul, it's not awesome for ending team fights, and Burning Core, it's not the kind of thing where like you're going to instantly pop someone with an Infernal Soul or be that much more bold on the dive of the mountain. Because Burning Core are always grouping, it makes it much harder to really utilize the Cloud Soul and catch someone out of position. Flawless. Well, speaking of caught out of position, Flawless burning down real fast is woof, that is a speedy Sengoku team right there. But it's just at the wrong timing. Just at the wrong timing. Baron's not spawned. Elder's not spawned. You don't get to take like a game-ending objective at this point. So Sengoku take the chunk, take the flash. It's all they're going to get from it. That's kind of sad, actually. I feel like that happens a minute later. You potentially have yourself a huge victory on your hands. For sure. Very impressive wall flash by Fujimoto, clearing that entire cliff. That was dope. But like I thought he was gonna die there, but Flawless was the one being left behind. I'm like, okay, that's cool. Let's see if he can. Don't think he can repeat that. Once again, Paz is loving this bush. I think that's gonna be the new time. The Paz bush. As he jumps in, says, "Oh, is there?" That's the kills that they wanted to get. Fujimoto, no way to survive this time. No flash, no problem. As Vital is popping off, does get the double kill. Look how chunked low Sengoku is. There are only 3 members left of Burning Core, but it's not necessarily the core that can get everything done, as Ray Farkey is on the run from multiple members, gets the blast code jetted back into the rest of the team, but he's a bulky boy. He can walk it out for now. Yeah. Sengoku looking for Baron number 2. Well, no, I mean, the jungler's down. You don't have your Karma. You can't fight without those 2 members. That's going to be at least a Baron down. Jet has damage. Is he going for a 1v2? Oh, my God. He pulled the trigger on the Ornn ulti. He's trying to go for something. Yeah, the man just wants to buy as much time as he can. Maybe go for it, get some kills under his belt. But I feel like that was just him playing the gatekeeper. But what that does there, it stops Burning Core pushing mid as quickly. You have to do it on the next wave rather than the one which they're trying to push. And what that means is now that Sengoku get the back from Baron, go towards Elder, get both buffs on them, and that huge pick around the mid lane is probably going to be the play which seals the game. I want to rename that top bush on blue side red, the Paz bush, because that man has been there 3 separate times. He owns it right now, and he just keeps making these plays from the bush. This Sejuani ult goes out once again. Burning Core opting in to try and make a recovery fight, but on the back side of that, Sengoku, they just do so much damage. Vital is so far ahead now, it's ridiculous as they're trying to go into this Elder fight. And Burning Core, they've managed to recover a little bit. I mean, you've got at least you got the Honey Fruit, which is very important for Jet, and he can start playmaking again after this point. But I thought that Sengoku would be able to get a clean reset into an Elder take. That's not been the case. Burning Core have everyone on the same place again. Oh no, he's going in. Jet dives in, but
gets the lead in after he takes out Fujimoto. It's a split fight on multiple fronts. Sengoku trying to fight through all of this. Burning Core trying to make something happen. Yuhi having to go into stasis and leaving Dice to die, but that is the full ace. Cloud Soul Baron on the table as well. Full ace for Sengoku as they are marching downwards through the middle for that victory.
There we go. Sengoku going to keep up with the first place Burning Core. It was a valiant effort. They gave themselves a decent chance. Won little bits in the early game, but individually overcome, team fighting overcome. Sengoku, the better team on the day.
Absolutely. They just did everything they needed to. They got the gold onto their major carries, and this is going to be another major win in the cap for Sengoku as they look to close out Game 4 on a high note.